Love is our true divine nature, and our heart serves as the intersection of the spiritual and physical, connecting our soul with our body as the conduit for anchoring our divinity onto the earth plane. Embodying our divinity is the key to our ascension and to manifesting our highest destiny in this life. The teachings of the heart are alchemy. Join spiritual mentor and channel Jennifer Spor each week on a sacred journey to lift the veil to remembering your divinity and meet other beautiful souls who are living the path of the awakened heart. I'm sitting with something today that has really cracked me open over the last few months. And it's something that I didn't plan on speaking with you all about, but here it is. The last few months, actually, it's probably better for me to start at the beginning and to say that my husband and I had this epic road trip planned for this fall in September. Almost 3 weeks traveling across the country from Idaho to Florida and back. And we embarked on this trip in a motorhome. And we chose to travel in the motorhome for many reasons. And one of them was because we wanted our cats, both of our cats, Chewy and Liam, to come with us. And we wanted to be together and travel together as a family. And the first 2 to 3 days of the trips started out well. Things seemed to be going well. Everyone seemed to be adjusting just fine. And then about 5 or so days into our trip, I was alone one morning in the motorhome with both of the cats. My husband was in an area where I was not able to reach him, and the unimaginable happened. Our cat, Liam, went into respiratory arrest, and I can feel my heart racing as I'm even talking about this. Just, imagining being in a situation where you're out in the middle of nowhere, which we were, and your loved one, a being that you love so much, is dying in front of you. That was very scary and very traumatic, and also very stabilizing, as in that situation, it was just me, and I ultimately, came up with a solution to help him in that moment, and he survived that event. My husband came back. We got him to an emergency hospital the next morning uh, because although he seemed to have stabilized that day, that evening, he was very apparently still not well. And once we got him to the hospital, it was revealed that, we suspected that he had gone into congestive heart failure. So that event happened, and thankfully, Liam made it through that. And based upon how ill he was at the time, we decided to cancel the rest of our trip and drive straight back to Idaho. And on that drive back to Idaho, we were coming home from Alabama. It took us about 4 days to get back out here, and there were some very long driving days, and Liam was not doing well. He essentially wouldn't leave my lap. Um, and, we really wondered if he was going to make it back home. But he did. And during that time, I really had to be even more grounded and in caring for him and also, while I love him so much and obviously I was praying the whole time for him to make it home, I also understood that he is ultimately, has chosen his path here and he was going to choose whether or not he was going to stay with us at that point and thankfully he did. And we got back home. We got him to a cardiology specialist, and they also confirmed suspected congestive heart failure. And Liam was stable. He started a a regimen to to stay stable in his condition and to maintain a good quality of life, and so things seem to be looking up after that, and he seemed to be doing much better. And then last week, actually it was about 2 weeks ago, the beginning of December, I was home alone here in Coeur d'Alene, and uh, I woke up. It was like a Wednesday morning. Everything seemed fine. Took care of the cats, went into meditation, came back out of the room about an hour later to Liam outside of my bedroom door, going into respiratory arrest again. And thankfully, this time I was in a town with transportation and much closer to an emergency hospital. So I rushed him to the hospital and he again had to be put on oxygen and it took him most of the day to become stabilized. And I was able to bring him home. And I, again, in that moment, so much wanted him to be okay. And it's very difficult for someone that we love so much to witness that happening. And all of the trauma that I had experienced from September, I thought I had allowed my body to process much of that. And then a couple of weeks ago, it all came back again. And he again had gone into respiratory arrest, had gone into heart failure. Uh, we were able to stabilize him, and then we had to travel about a week later to take him back to a cardiology specialist to look at his heart. And yeah, the vet confirmed that his condition had indeed progressed the last 2 to 3 months since the initial event occurred in September. And she gave him a prognosis of about, 6 to 18 months. And in that moment, knowing that this condition, which I guess happens, uh, congestive heart failure happens in only like 5% of cats, that there is no cure for it. There is only maintaining quality of life as best as possible, and that's it. And there was a part of me that, of course, is grieving that, right? But there's another part of me that knows that just like me, Liam is a sovereign being and he gets to make the ultimate decision as to how long he chooses to stay here. And that, it isn't my job, right? Or my responsibility to try to control his life path, but rather to stand deeply anchored in stewardship of him, in care for him, in relationship with him until he decides to go. And I've shared with you, what's happening with Liam, and so I live now in day-to-day uncertainty of how long he's gonna be here. I've, let go of trying to control that and chosen to stay focused on being in the present moment and caring for him to the best of my ability and being a steward for him and an advocate for him for as long as he chooses to stay here. And in all of this experience, it's just reminded me of so many other memories in my life that have come forward around what's been happening with Liam, and in particular my mother, who unfortunately was diagnosed with terminal cancer and transitioned as a result of that many years ago. But there were a lot of similar feelings around wanting her to stay, trying to control something that can't be controlled. And eventually, with those we love so deeply and with our whole hearts, whether it's our parents, our children, our pets, right, our beloved animal companions, we can't control their path and how long they choose to be with us, but what we can do is be stewards for them, be loving advocates for them. And that's really what I'm sharing today. It's really what this is about. It's about allowing life to be sovereign, allowing yourself to be sovereign, allowing those you love to be sovereign. Even when we're deeply devoted, even when we have the capacity to influence, even when we wish we could protect them, which of course we do. And choosing stewardship, right? Over the need to control. And stewardship of another being, it says, I walk beside you, I listen, I respond, but I do not override your being. It's about our ability to remain present inside uncertainty without collapsing it or trying to fix it. Thank you for listening to Path of the Awakened Heart. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or pathoftheawakenedheart.com so you never miss an episode. To learn more about living with an awakened heart and navigating your ascension journey, visit me at jenniferspor.com.